Okay, so I'm here to talk about the Pelicans, and I'm gonna be kind of late talking about this. It's been like a couple days since they fired Gentry, and yeah. So obviously the Pels are out of the playoffs. Playoffs are already underway. Um, Gentry got fired earlier this week. So that's good. Um, you know, my whole thought process is because there's a lot of rumblings about what they may do with Lonzo this offseason and Brandon Ingram and the team and all that other bullshit. But I put it like this because, they're doing a draft lottery tonight. Tonight is Thursday, the 20th. They're doing the draft lottery tonight, and they'll go from there. My thing is before they even actually, draft, which I believe is in October. If I'm wrong, somebody can let me know. I think it's in October, it may be sooner. But before they do that, I think they need to get a coach. You know, I don't think it does them any good to start trying to draft a player without a coach. If you're going to get a coach to coach this team, he needs to be able to pick his players. Um, so let's just start there. But David Griffin said something interesting, and he was like, he was basically saying he wanted a coach that was on the same page with him going forward. And so my thing is, I guess he was alluding that Alvin Gentry wasn't, and Alvin Gentry was on First Take, I think, like 2 days ago, and he was saying he don't know what that is. You'd have to ask David Griffin specifically because he's like, to his knowledge, they were on the same page, but whatever. Um, my thing is this: uh, they need to determine what this team is supposed to be doing. Are they building the young talent, or are they shooting for the playoffs? And that will determine a lot of what they do, how they deal with the draft and other stuff. If they're trying to get into the playoffs the next year, which next season, they're going to definitely draft someone who can come in and make an immediate impact and play, immediately. Other than that, if not, then they're going to draft, developmental piece that they got to sit there and carry, groom into place. Um, people were talking about, oh, if they get a point guard, Lonzo can, get out of there. Well, I mean, they drafted Nikhil Alexander Walker. And, I mean, look, we still have Lonzo, so that don't mean much. Um, for me, I don't really care necessarily who they draft. The draft is fine, I guess, but unless they get like top five pick, I really kind of don't care. Um, I think regardless of whatever way they go, they need a stretch five, and I would much rather take a older, not too old, someone around the age maybe like 24, 27, 28, proven stretch five, preferably try to keep them around 25 ish years of age, to just come in and start playing there and keep what they have in Jackson Hayes. That's what I would prefer. Um, but it all depends on what the Pelicans organization deems necessary or what they're trying to do. Um, with that too, and back to my point about the coach is going to have to evaluate how they feel about Lonzo, Bi, and Zion, that the three-headed monster, because depending on that will affect a lot of things. If they are higher on Zion than they are on Lonzo and Bi, how does that make them feel? How does that affect shot selection? How does that affect scheme? There's a whole lot to go into that, and I don't want to hear all that bullshit about they ain't prideful. Them motherfuckers got pride. You know, I personally, I felt disrespected that Zion was getting more shots than Bi. Granted, he was number one overall pick. Bi has played. He's proven. He's got years in the game, and he's a better offensive player right now. He should have been getting shots. There's no reason he shouldn't. He should. There should be games where Zion is just like consistently getting more shots by halftime, playing like not even close to the same amount of minutes. So, that to me is whack. But What if a coach feels like Zion needs to get 20, 22 shots a game and B.I. only needs 16? That dynamic. There's some people who say Lonzo needs to get like 16, 17 shots a game. Me personally, I want him to get around, 13, 14, preferably 14, um, and work his way up. I think that'll do a lot more for him. And when I was looking earlier this season, they won most of the games that he scored. Well, he had about 13, 14 shots. He was pretty efficient. Like he gave the complete game. So I would prefer him to stick around that, and then we can increase going forward after that. But I think getting him about 3 to 4 shots every quarter is pretty good for him. Um, Speaking of Lonzo, Lonzo has some things he needs to work on this offseason, particularly his handles, mid-range game, which is just overall his shooting. He still needs to improve on that. Free throws, obviously, and finishing at the rim. The most important things, probably to me, is the handles, the finishing at the rim, and the free throws. I think you can still work. I think it's just going to take time with the jump shot. I think it's coming along anyway. I mean, obviously, he went up to like 37.5%, 38% this season. So he's going to keep working on that. I don't see that tailoring off, and I don't even think we've seen peak Zoe shooting yet. Um, so I'm not too worried about that, but his handles need to improve. He's not as good at breaking defenders down. His left hand is weak. I think he needs to strengthen that. Um, he it also affects him when he's attacking the basket. Um, like he's leaving himself exposed and is leading the turnovers. So I definitely need him to work on his handles as one of his priorities. Finishing at the basket is a part of that too, but I think that's a little bit more of mindset. Um, but we'll see with that. I still want him to work on that. There's no reason you should be blowing missed layups. Hell, if a motherfucker just go up there and dunk the ball on somebody, I'd be happy. But you know, it's just a couple things. I'm not gonna get too in detail about that. I can make another video about that. Bi, I need him to tighten up his dribble too. His defense needs work. His footwork in particular needs work. Um, and just still improve on his offense. He can still become a more mercurial shooter, scorer. I think it's in the works for him to, move up to like 26 points per game this season. But I'd much rather see Bi at like 27, 7, and 5. Which is like KD's career average. So, if he's moving closer to that, I can't complain about that. But I want to see him become a better two-way player than KD was sooner than KD was, because KD wasn't really known for his defense until like his last year or so in OKC, and then while he was in Golden State. Um, Zion has work to do. I preferably would like to see him get an improved jump shot. If he could at least take mid-range shots, that does a lot for his game. If he could just become a knockdown three-point shooter, that does a lot for his game. Hell, if he could shoot the way Lonzo shot this year from three, he's fine. Like, you won't ever, like, even if he never got any better, if you take exactly what Lonzo did this year as far as shooting the ball from three and you put it in Zion right now, that would make Zion infinitely better. He doesn't need to be 40, from three. He just needs enough to where the defenders have to respect him. And if they sag off of him, they can punish him. So that way, if you play Zion at the 5 and have Bi running point or have Lonzo running point in the pick and roll, he could make the decision. Okay, I'm gonna pop. If they go with Bi or Zoe, then I'm gonna knock down the shot. 9 times out of 10, they're probably just gonna stick with Zion, which gives Lonzo the free basket. But if Lonzo could hit those shots, if he go hit the lab, he can, hit those layups and stuff. Now they gotta concentrate on him, and now he can knock down shots. And then Bi, they got to be concerned with where Bi attack from at all times. So, if he high IQ, he can make that decision in the play. I'd like to see more of that from him. Outside of that, Josh Hart was saying that he needed to increase his or work on his jump shot, which I mentioned in my previous video. I said, he has this little hesitation pause thing where he has to set the ball, and because of it, he's losing valuable seconds to get a shot up. So I'm glad he mentioned that. I would love to see him, work on his playmaking. I'd like to see him become a better passer and just his overall basketball IQ. He's solid, but I think there's more in the cards for Josh Hart if he works on it. He could be somewhat like a diet version of Drew if he works on the handles. I would love to see him start at some point, but more than likely he won't. But if possible, I would love to see Josh Hart in that starting lineup. Um, I guess next, like I said, it depends on what the front office is looking to do. If they want to compete, they're probably going to go with veterans, and if they're going to go with veterans, then I don't want to see Etwan Moore. I don't want to see Frank Jackson. Uh, Melly, I suppose we could keep, but I think we could do better than Melly. Basically, if we can't get better than Melly, then fuck it, we keep Melly. But I think we can go get somebody. I think the guy's name is like Dort or Dart, something like that from OKC. I like him off the bench. A player kind of like that, plays defense, can knock down threes. Kind of athletic, can run the floor. That's what I would like to see. That power forward spot coming after Zion. And to be honest, like I want to see that with like Bi. I want to see more floor spacers and defensive minded pit bulls out there. I think Nickeil Alexander Walker is going to develop, and then he should probably get some time as backup point guard behind Zoe. If not, he should probably either be being groomed to be the next starting shooting guard, possibly. So in case if they don't want to put Josh Hart there, they want to put him there. I'm perfectly fine with that. Center is the next big thing. I don't believe Favors is coming back. I have reason to believe he's not coming back, but I'm not going to speak on that. Jahlil Okafor, people are still high on him. I think he's a great offensive player, but I want defense. I want, like, if he could work on his defense and he could become an imposing presence down there, shot blocker, keep him. But if not, I'd much rather go get a stretch five, Brook Lopez kind of player and pair him back there. That way, you can get the most out of Zion, Bi, and Zoe in that starting lineup. But basically, I want to see some high IQ, athletic guys that know how to play and play hard in the second unit. I don't want to see these four or five guard lineups. I want to see balanced lineups. I want to see flexibility. I don't want to sit there and look at the schedule and be like, okay, that's a loss because our roster's shit here. That's what I did this year. And those teams swept us. OKC, Dallas, all those teams swept us. Those big, heavy front court guys. You got, from 3 to 5 is solid, husky, muscular, athletic, can shoot. These guys play hard. There's nothing they can do with it. I don't want to look on the roster next year and say, loss, just because of the roster. I want to look at it and be like, okay, where do we match up at? How can we exploit these teams? How can we take advantage of them? I need a coach. If we're going to hire a coach, I want a coach that sits there and can get the most out of the players on the court. I don't want to sit there and be like, okay, well, I don't know how to do this, or Lonzo doesn't have any options on the floor. If Lonzo's on the floor, have him set some pin downs for somebody. Have him cut to the basket. Develop Bi and Zion to sit there and be looking for the cutter. Lonzo can cut. Lonzo can finish at the rim when he's catching alley oops. He's athletic enough. That's a good way to get some easy points and get him involved instead of you having him camp out on the other side of the floor. He's got to be having fun. He's got to be engaged. And I don't blame him because, hell, all the players in the league do that. I've seen LeBron camp. I've seen Harden camp. The only players I don't see do that is like Steph, and that's because Steph is great off ball, and he's the central part of the offense, so he's involved even when he's not touching it. But, other than that, like your wings, I've seen KD just sit back and wait. Get him involved. I'd rather him just sit there. I mean, not sit there. I'd rather him be looking to attack the basket. Whoever's the coach got to grill and instill in Lonzo, hey, man, even when the ball ain't in your hands, you got to be looking to attack. If your guys, teach them those techniques those vets know. If you're sitting there and your guy looks off this way, cut, go, hit the basket. And you got to tell Bi, Zion, and whoever else, look, man, if you got the one-on-one matchup and you're getting some pressure and you see Lonzo slip past this guy, throw the ball to Lonzo, have a finish. Easy buckets. Yeah, we want to get the threes and stuff, but we got to make the play. I'd much rather you make the smart basketball play at all times. And even with Lonzo, let's say if Lonzo develops a game, he can break down his opponent and he can shoot off the dribble. Even if he's got a 1-on-1, if Zion or Bi's cutting, get him the ball. It's period. It don't matter who you are on the team. If someone is cut to the basket and they got it and they beat their man, give them the ball. Stats or not, get easy shots at all times. We want easy shots. There's nothing that hurts a defense worse than easy shots. You sitting there, you play defense, and now they got 2-3 seconds left and they get an easy shot because somebody just dozed off and relaxed on defense. That'll kill a team. So that's what I want all the time. Whatever coach come in and steal it, hey man, just because you don't have the ball don't mean you shouldn't be thinking about attacking somehow. If that means you got to attack on the pick, if you got to set aggressive picks, if you got to sit there and cut to the basket, screens, backdoor, whatever you got to do. Like, that's what I want the next coach of this team to tell them. Like, hey, man, winning basketball don't mean you just get complacent with standing around. It don't mean you get complacent with defense either. You sit there, you play aggressive defense. You got to want that defense. You can't hope the defense fall in place to everybody else there. You got to want that defense. And otherwise, it's just not going to work. And that was one of the problems with the Pelicans this year. They didn't want that defense enough. So they got to be charged up. So whatever coach they get, I don't want somebody to be out there pussyfooting. It need to get up in their ass, like that ass. But, that's pretty much my whole viewpoint of all this. I ain't want to go into too many details. At this point, we know David Griffin was just saying his normal bullshit. Alvin needed to go, which is fine. Zoe know what he need to work on. Hell, he already mentioned it, and the rest of the players do. So I just hope they take this time and exercise it and use it wisely instead of bullshitting. Outside of that, that's it for this video. I'm going to try to make another video. I might make another one later on or something, maybe tomorrow, about the draft lottery or whatever. We'll see. But this is Jay Strokes, Pelicans. Peace.